Okay, so we're going to create a velocity tool holder. So I just imported this and we're looking at it, and I do not like these colors. So what we're going to do is just right click, select all, and come here to properties, and you can view the properties in case you're not aware. Under the show hide, you can check properties or hit Alt Enter. But I'm going to come here and just select gray. And once I do that, my model has been updated to gray. Now this is looking a little bit boring, so I want to change some colors from here. So velocity is basically an Okuma product. So what I'm going to do here is make this solid, which is an individual solid. I'm going to make that blue, which looks like Okuma. Maybe this this body, I will darken that. You can come here maybe on the coolant line, and you know, this is probably going to be brass, so I'm just going to pick kind of one of these colors here. And then on the collet nut, I will maybe come in here and just pick like a darker gray. So that looks pretty good right there. I'm liking that. Now, some of these are pretty detailed, and these models from Velocity, they have a lot of extra models in here that are just going to make the file larger, and stuff like here, this is going to be up in the turret, so we don't need to keep a lot of these things. So looking at it, if I look at this solid here, this extends through and it's something that's going to be visible, so I want to keep that one. But here, this one, you know, there's nothing that's visible here, so I'm just going to hit the delete key. These bolts here, we don't need any of these. I'm going to get rid of that one back there. You know, that just kind of trims the file a little bit. What is this one? This one we don't need. And looking down the shaft, we've got a nut in here. We're going to get rid of that. And that's looking pretty good. Now, you can see here that the Uvw positioning of this holder is not correct. This face is going to interface with the flat turret face. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that the blue is pointing up into the turret, and the XY plane here is actually zeroed out at this face. So to do that, we're going to use this function here, align Z. And when I go ahead and click on that, we now see that my XY plane is positioned at the zero point at this face. And my blue vector to indicate the direction into the turret is correct. So that's looking good. But I'm not really sure exactly where this model has been positioned by the guys that did the, you know, the CAD work. So I'm going to pick this, one of these circular faces here, and I'm also going to hit Align Z one more time, and that is going to center this about the Z-axis. So it's going to slide up into the turret bore correctly. Now, usually this is, you know, when I see people's machines and stuff, this is going to be facing toward the main. This direction, this red direction, is going to point toward the main, so it's actually going to be pointing toward the sub. So what I'm going to do is just hit right click and say select all, right click again, pick copy. I'm going to select rotate. I'm going to say move. I'm going to do a 180, and I'm going to say OK. So now the red vector indicating toward the main is showing this blue block pointing at the main spindle. And at this point, I want to create my tool spindle axis. So since my solid is correctly positioned now, my tool vector is also in the same orientation as this holder, because this is a radial holder. So what I'm going to do here is just kind of zoom in on the face of this collet nut, and I'm going to pick my translate command. And you can pick any of these commands here. I'm just going to pick translate, and then when I move my mouse near the center and where it is at the the face of this collet, it's going to highlight that. When I digitize with the mouse, it's going to translate my UVW to that center position, even with the face of the collet. So when I create a tool, it's going to appear with the base of the shank right here, with the overhang of that tool, the stick out coming from the face of that collet. So now what I want to do is just define that using TSA. And I did a TSA_1 for tool spindle axis. And really for this holder, you're only going to have the one. And then I'm going to come to File, Save As, and we're going to do a GDML for a holder type. Holder files, GDML. And we're going to add it to this folder right here. So we've got an internal collet, an extended collet. We're going to go Save. And now, if I go to the machine view and I load a machine, we're going to bring in my LB3000 and kind of zoom in on the turret here. And we're going to turn off, we'll turn off these outside elements here so that we can see the turret really nicely. I'm going to say OK, come to Tool Assemblies right here. I'm going to right click on Station 1. I'm going to add the one that we just did, which is this EXT. And you see the preview looks good. I'm going to say Open. And my tool holder appears. And let's go ahead and create a tool here. I say OK. Do add a milling tool, end mill. Just going to take the default end mill here. So we see that the holder face has interfaced with the flat turret face at Station 1 because I added it to Station 1. And you see that my tool appears right at the center of the face of that collet nut, which is exactly where I define that TSA. And I can add, an additional, the one that I did earlier. And that one is going to appear on Station 2. And you can see they're slightly different, but they interface nicely with the turret and with each other. They're going to be displayed on the machine exactly like they would be displayed on the machine, like they would be mounted on the machine in real life. So maybe I want to add, let's see, make this a 10 millimeter, make it a little bit longer. Well, we'll just go to the overall length here. We'll do 25 for this one. Say OK. And there we go. We've got a couple of really sweet looking Okuma blue branded Velocity tool holders on Station 1 and 2. That is how you do it.